Yo, what's going on? My name's Tom, and this is TJCMN. And for once, I actually have a non-update video here on the channel. And to go down memory lane, I actually have an unboxing to do in particular. And I'm actually really excited to open this because I definitely needed a new vacuum. Since moving, we haven't vacuumed this place at all, and I'm sure you've seen there are two cats walking around all the time, so the place does get pretty fuzzy. And fortunately for us, we have here the Eureka 3670, and let me just make sure I get the model number right, just so and I'll have it linked in the description below. Yes, the 3670G Mighty Mite. I'll read the overview in the website, which I mentioned will be included with other things in the description below for your, convenience, and as well I'll also have my review that will be forthcoming in its own video respectively, coming sometime down the pipeline. I'll figure out when, but expect it soon. I'm sure though, based off of the reviews and the fact that it's optimized for even dealing with people who have pets, which is definitely someone who, in my case, I fall in that camp, and I'm sure others who've watched this might be in that sort of camp too, especially in the United States where a lot of people are dog and cat type of people. And, as great as they are very fuzzy, and, I mean, no one has to, what was it called, have to really explain it, and if you know it firsthand, obviously, it's just a very fuzzy situation. But, anyways, so this particular segment here, we have the box, and I'm just going to be opening it, I mean, I used to do a lot of unboxings in the past, actually, and it was actually something that I kind of just impromptu came up with as something I thought was worthwhile, especially since the tech scene back then in 2009, there were people doing these types of things, but they really weren't as standardized as it really has become today in 2021. This account actually turned 12 back in August, which 12 years old actually, which is just kind of crazy, Time flies too fast actually. And if you actually didn't know, I do a podcast actually, which is more frequent when it comes to, international relations, world history, and especially U.S. American politics, and I recommend checking that out if you haven't. It'll be linked below, but let me not ramble, I can talk about that later. I think we should get into the specs, and you see the box over here, obviously. I got the knife here to make sure that I get it open with no problem, but let me read the, overview on the website really quick, just to give you guys and gals a little bit of an idea of what we'll find inside the package. But, it's a vacuum cleaner, so it's not that complicated. I'm sure there's instruction manuals in it too, but we don't need that. We're geeks and that type of thing. It's kind of self-explanatory. But when it comes to this, I purchased this particular unit on Amazon. There'll be a link below to that, but I definitely recommend checking out the official website. And this overview here says, based off of Eureka.com, which, fun fact, the etymology of Eureka comes from the Greek Eureka, which means I have found it, and it is said to have been most famously postulated by a particular Archimedes, who is, I'm not sure if you've known, a very famous Greek mathematician and scientist who actually lived in Syracuse back when it was part of, I think, Magna Graecia in southern Italy, approximating that boot area. And this was something actually that Archimedes had, blurted out, I guess, saying I found it in regards to figuring out when he was in the bathtub that it had a depth and volume to it, and that was some of the foundations to later innovations when it came to the types of geometric type of things that I in particular really didn't have any sort of fascination with, but when it comes to their historical and mathematical significance, my particular interest, whether it's there or not, doesn't really matter. It's still important nonetheless, and I think it's a fun little tidbit that I figured it was worth mentioning. But it's also a nice name for a brand, I guess. It's I think it's creative, but hey, listen, we'll let the product basically be the ultimate verdict when it comes to whether this company is worth its stuff. I'm not going to give you any sort of mincing of words. I'll give you my unfiltered review and perspective as always. So look forward to that coming soon. And here, let's see what the overview says finally. The iconic Mighty Mite bagged canister is a true powerhouse with 12 amps of incredible suction power. It can tackle any job, big or small. The lightweight design at only 8.6 pounds makes it easy, incredibly easy, to maneuver or carry upstairs. With 11 feet of extended reach, you can easily clean above floors and in tight corners. Additionally, the Mighty Mite has a blower port that is perfect for leaves on decks or in the garage. So not only does it have the capacity to suck up all the dirt and stuff that a vacuum cleaner is expected, but it can actually reverse that and actually act as a sort of de facto leaf blower or, duster. So that's pretty handy. And for the price, I think it actually is a great feature. And the features here, it says it comes with whole home cleaning, bagged to trap allergens, and these bags are replaceable. There's actually a link that you can have for buying the bag standalone, which I'll include in the description below as well, in case you are interested in getting this product. But I wouldn't jump the gun yet, don't particularly. I mean, you can take the reviews online already posted, but I definitely recommend checking out the review I'll have, which I'll include below again. And I'm definitely excited to start using this, which is something that really, as someone who just turned 25 recently, reminds me how much of an adult I've become. I mean, listen, I used to remember still getting excited back way in the 2000s when I used to get Transformer toys, and now getting clothes like socks, underwear, and even a vacuum cleaner is like Christmas coming early, But hey, you gotta adapt with the times, I guess. And when it comes to all these other features here, yes, useful tools, above floor cleaning, blower port, all that will be basically demonstrated in these types of videos that I plan on doing, including the review and maybe a first impressions video as well. Let me know if you want to see both of those individually or maybe collectively. I'll still try to, when I do upload here, try to configure the most optimal format to make sure that it's to your guys' preference. As always, when it comes to these sorts of reviews, I always make sure that beyond just enjoying these products here, I'm hoping that I'm conveying that there is a broader sort of, context, whether it's the application of these products and services when it comes to our regular daily lives, or it's something as monotonous as something that I think is enjoyable, that is worth its own particular segment on. I mean, it can go from something quite complicated and esoteric and abstract to something very just practical and right in front of your face. But I mean, listen, in a world where we're living in, sometimes the things in front of our face, it's not always the case that we're always able to see those. I mean, take my word for it as someone who always loses things around the house all the time, but hopefully I won't vacuum anything up and we'll actually get to see the vacuum cleaner now, because I'll link the rest of the website in the description, but I want to get into this package because I'm sure you guys all know, and it's, I think, expected, when you get something you really want to open it. So hey, let's go and do it, So really quick, actually, before I'll just show you guys really quick. I'll rotate the box just so you guys get just a good overview of all this. It's a box, I mean, what do you expect? It has all the different things that a box would have on it to describe a product. Simple enough, I mean, hey, listen, it's not rocket science, but figured I'd show you all this. And now let's actually cut into it. I'm going to grab this glass of water really quick. Awkwardly grabbing and drinking it like one of the Florida senators, I think, had famously did on a speech he did, and became a sort of viral thing because the way he did it was sort of mechanical. I think you know what I'm referring to, but what is it called? If you want to hear my political perspective, you can always tune into this channel. I'm going to get into that here. It's better to just focus on the unboxing. And I got to make sure I focus to get this thing open here. I guess, Eureka. It's a pretty apt thing to say in this situation. Even though, unlike Archimedes, we're not in a bathtub and we're probably not doing anything nearly as profound. And this is the 21st century, not 21st century AD, not BC. Here, put this. Got the top open, and then here we go. I'll put this down, hook myself, and here's what we got. So we got the cord that obviously connects to the main body and is used to obviously help with it's like the, what was it called, the tubes to help circulate the garbage on the floor into the vacuum cleaner unit itself. And then we got in protective tape. Actually, let me just show you. I mean, listen, I don't want to mess everything up, so let me put this to the side. I think you all have seen this. I mean, I'm sure you all have seen a vacuum cleaner before. Hopefully you all have had one, or have had one. And the tubes look like for that type of thing. The newer ones I've seen with the robot, like my mom just bought one, I think, on sale, but one of those Roombas. Those things are pretty crazy in and of themselves. You can control the more expensive ones with like your phone on applications. I think it's kind of excessive, though. Honestly, I mean, I'd rather vacuum things myself. Honestly, myself too, But hey, everybody has their own sort of preferences. Maybe in the future, who knows what will happen. Got the main vacuum out. We're gonna put that to the side really quick though, because there's some other things here that I think should be worth, before we get into the main body, taking a brief look into. So you got the cord that obviously plugs into the wall that gives it the electricity it needs to be powered. You got this tube over here. Put this to the side, and then you got the instruction manual. But as I said before, we already know what to do. This is all self-explanatory. It's a vacuum cleaner. This is not heart surgery, and fortunately it isn't. Or I would be in a lot of trouble if it would be nearly like that, or even halfway, but it is good to go. So, I mean, we can just figure that out on our own. And then you got one of the brushes here that you can use to help sweep up, things that are particularly hard to just sweep, that don't just get sucked up through the traditional vector. And then you have another tube. And then you have, the warranty, bag replacement instructions. The bags, obviously, you can't forget those. You need those to put the trash in. If you didn't, it would be like putting the cart before the horse, metaphorically speaking. You never want to do that, or you won't make it to wherever you're going in this hypothetical scenario. So, and this is another attachment that you can use, an accessory, to help suck up the various dirt that's around the house. And then that's pretty much it. So that's the end of what's in the box. Let me put this to the side. Actually, let me put it over here. There. And then let's get into this. Let's take a look at that. Take a look at this. These here. The tube I will leave down there again. It's just too bulky. I would leave it on the table with everything else just for the aesthetic, but it's too much trouble. More trouble than it's worth, as I was going to try to say, but you saw already. So, I mean, hopefully I'm not depriving you guys and gals the pleasure of seeing a generic tube for a vacuum cleaner. I mean, I'm not sure if anyone wants to see that. I think that the main prize that everyone wants to take a look at is the vacuum cleaner itself, which finally we have got to right here. Last, but certainly not least. And this says, obviously, the model and the company name. And I'm really surprised. The first impression that I have right now is that it's incredibly light, and it's something that looks like it's very dynamic, and I'll obviously have to assess firsthand how it does when it comes to its performance, but as I mentioned before, that a review will be forthcoming after I do so, and I'll probably do a demo inside that review as well. But based on the reviews and what looks like plenty of accessories and a robust user interface, I guess, externally, I think that this is going to be something that will have been worth the money, and it will have been the most bang for our bucks. So we'll have to figure that out, but hopefully, and it has wheels too, so it has the whole kit and caboodle, but hopefully you enjoyed this unboxing, as sort of impromptu and casual as it was. And if you did, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and also make sure to check out the other things I do, including my podcast over at getnuance.com/podcast. All of that will be linked in the description below, along with the product and where you can purchase it, whether it be Amazon or some other, platform that you want to purchase this on. As long as you're getting from point A to point B, as long as you're getting it, does it really matter where you're purchasing at? I think the most important thing is making sure you get it as cheap as possible. And that's something that can be said for buying products in general for your consumer experience. But yeah, before I go on a tangent, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I'll make sure to catch you all in the next segment I make real soon. And maybe I'll have some stuff in between unrelated to vacuum cleaning that will be equally as interesting. But for now, this has been Tom for youtube.com/TJCMN. Thanks again for watching. Stay safe, and I'll catch you all in the next segment I make real soon. For now, peace out.